we can clean up before go live. We can run through from creation to issue on all these steps. And ideally, we'd like to focus on all of the little nuances where, a pop-up window might say hit cancel for one thing. And, I think we ran through it before when we were issuing a partial. I just want to focus on all of those little nuances.
Well, do you guys have a copy of our manual?
Yes, we do.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, have you gone online and tried the functionality? Have you done anything with our test site that we put up for you?
We have, but it wouldn't allow us to print things, etc.
Yeah, and since the last time we met up, some of those errors were holding us up. So we haven't done anything in the meantime because of the weather and everything else. So we were off for a long weekend.
Well, I think everything's pretty much done. So we'll just start with creating a purchase order, I suppose.
Sure.
So if I go to create a purchase order, I remember you had an issue and we moved the...
That's good.
Yeah, we moved those around, and then there was a problem with the supplier's catalog and the term agreements, and I fixed that. So we're defaulting everything to the 205 inventory warehouse, okay?
Yes.
So the only thing you really have to worry about when you create a purchase order right now is, choosing your supplier.
And
so
put number in.
And putting in your order number, yeah.
The buyer, does that default to the person's login who's creating
it? It should, but I'm not.
Yeah, we'll select that. That's standard operating procedure for us.
Okay, so I put Hugh as the buyer, and then I save it.
So far, it looks really good.
Okay, I mean, it can't be any easier than that, right?
Oh, that's exactly what we do
now
already.
The system options for the POs are here. And what I did was I changed the filter, and there was an issue, and I fixed it. At least last time I checked, it was fixed. So right now, the inventory settings are supplier option, valid supplier term agreements. So if I go back into that purchase order, BGW. Okay, that's the one I just created. So if I go into the lines here, and I add a line, okay, it filters by the supplier and the term agreement.
Perfect.
So life's easier.
Yes.
Yeah. So, basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say 1 unit.
That's fine. We just see the steps here.
Okay. So now if the purchase order is ready to be received, all you have to do is click the receive button.
Oh, here, let's go back. That's fine.
Okay.
So I create this order. Well, I need to send it. So where do I go to print this sucker out? Up here? Okay, just go to print.
Whoop. Let's go back to the line items for it. There might be something wrong. I got to take a look at that now. Great. So if I go here, BGW, from the list, you can always print too.
Yeah.
Valid use and null. There is a printed PO. I'll fix that. I don't know why it's not working.
Okay, so I'm gonna make a note on it. Everything else so far looks excellent.
Yeah, there is a printed PO.
And we know that we've seen it before in the past, but we've been having issues as we've been mucking around in here.
Yeah, I understand, and I thought I had them all resolved. So
the prints like it did in the past. When you fix that part, this whole loop here looks pretty good so far.
Okay, so I'll fix that, and then again on the line items, this is where you click the receive button. So basically, what that does is it brings it into the receiving grid. All right. And, it fills in all the fields for you, basically. So you don't have to do anything here but receive it.
Unless
it chooses the warehouse and the location that it's receiving it into.
So, generally they won't be on the work order line item screen when they go to receive it. So, it could be a month apart from when they actually created the PO and when they're receiving it. from a, you know, just a generic personnel view, how would they get to receiving this item without knowing the PO or any of that stuff?
Well, they got to know that you got to give them the PO number. They would have to receive it from the PO.
That's never an issue. It's always associated with the purchase order, and we know what it is. I mean, including historically. So even if it's an obscure item, we're still going to be able to find it somehow.
Correct, but I'm talking about a workflow like starting, you know, whatever, whenever we cut over, the day they cut over, PO, whatever was just come in, how would they like jump into doing that received if they weren't already on the purchase order screen?
I mean, this is what I would do. Is, okay, so I know what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for toilet paper. So I know the number. I'm going to look up that number in inventory, and it should tell me that it's on order under PO, BGW, PO 1234.
That's correct. So if you look at this guy, and I go into inventory, I'm looking for this guy. Shows me right here on order. Then I can click on that and it shows me the PO number.
Exactly, bingo.
So we've covered PO creation and we've covered receiving, and we've already covered receiving partial order.
Right. So again, you know, to reiterate, what happens when you receive this guy, it's going to ask you if you want to complete it or not.
Right. When you
cancel if it's a partial, but this is a full receipt, so I'm just going to say okay.
Okay.
Receive it. Okay. So basically, you know, that stock is now received. If I go back into the item master and I look for it, you're going to see one in stock here. If I click on it, it shows you it was received on this PO.
Right.
Perfect.
Okay.
Do you typically issue from work order, or do you issue from like item?
They issue from work order. At least that's what I saw.
Yeah, everything that we issue is tied to a work order. Everything.
Yeah, so let's go through that. Okay, so I went through that, and it seems to be working the way it worked in your old system. I created this work order, BGWs. Okay. I went to the line items, and let's say I want to issue 100 of these. If I copy this guy and say issue, it takes me into the issue grid. Now, the difference between what you guys do and everybody else does is you can issue out of different warehouses.
Right.
So if I choose the tool room here and say, paste this guy in and say I want to issue 10 units out of the tool room against this work order. And then I'm going to BGW 2512 Eberhart Road, Whitehall. We put this in for you, I remember, PA 18042, close enough. Okay, I got to choose the location to issue it from, which I'm taking it out of the tool room. Then if I save this guy, I can then print the pick list. Okay, and there's your pick list.
Oh, good. Go back. I want to see. I missed where you clicked for the issue. You just go to pick list. Then what do we hit?
To finish this issue, all you have to do is finish the issue. But you have to save the grid before you can print the pick list. Okay?
Save, finish issue.
Yeah, so you do save. Okay, then you do the pick list, print it, and then you do a finish issue.
No having to hit mark on there at all. That's perfect.
Mark is only if you're going to delete a line.
I said after you.
Okay, that's good to know.
After
Mark,
you hit finish issue, it says print issue slip on the top. Is that the same function? Can you hit finish issue first and then print?
That's a pick. No, there are two things. There's an issue slip and a pick list.
Okay.
Pick list is different. The pick list is the one we customize for you.
Yes.
Yeah, it's good to know just for clarification, confusion.
Yeah.
Because you see how it shows on the end of that page, it literally says print pick list. But this would be the wrong issue.
Yeah, it says right here. You know, I mean.
I see it. Okay.
There you go, right there. So now if we look at that work order again. BGW. Look at the line items. You'll see that 10 were issued against it. And we also put this in for future, if you wanted to tie it, you know, for references, you can now tie it to a PO. But in the future, what we'll do is we'll trigger, you know, once you guys are up and running, we're going to put a procedure in place where you can, you know, say PO committed, and we'll generate purchase orders based on the work order.
Yeah, perfect, perfect.
Okay, but right now it's just a reference.
That's
So
it,
if
yeah,
I were to save this, you'll see that it retains the PO number.
We know that's on tap for later on, you know, in the
Yep.
next several months.
Yeah.
But in the
Now
meantime,
just,
I can manually populate that field on my own. When I buy a
Yep.
cabinet, it's a one item. It's not too hard for me to go in there, DEO 190012.
Perfect.
yep,
Okay,
okay.
excellent.
The other functions, I mean, they're pretty standard functions, and you probably already have them in IP4 Win. It's like, you know, if you want to move stock in a warehouse, you know, you just go into the tool room. But I mean, your locations are fairly simple. They match whatever the warehouse is, so there wouldn't be much movement there. And again, I think that really the only customization with respect to the movement of stock was around being able to issue out from different warehouses against a work order, which I just demonstrated worked. Let's see. Then, you know, you have receiving stock. If you just want to, you know, if you find a discrepancy and you need to receive stock into a warehouse, you know, you can simply just do a direct receive, you know, say 100 units, or receive them into this guy. You know, I just received 100 units into the tool room, that stock. You know, your reports are all there. We'll probably end up doing some customization around reports. We usually do. But right now, you know, there's an audit trail that shows you everything that went on during the course of the day.
Yes.
So in other words,
Okay.
if we need to, we do a cycle count, whatever, we're 4 over or 4 short, so we go to receive and
Well, you
issue?
can do a cycle. You can actually do a cycle count.
Okay.
You know, I mean, if I wanted to do, view all expected items. Okay, CC006. Inventory. Cycle count. Yeah, I don't know why, I'll have to look at that. Why, it should show you what's in that 204 tool room. But hang on a second, let me. Inventory. Cycle count. Yeah, this is the tool room. This is what it says, 100 units and 99 units. So I'll take a look at the cycle count. You should be able to do it right there. But if you needed to, yeah, you could do a direct receipt or a direct issue.
Okay, yeah, I mean, that's,
correct.
you know, the easier the better.
Yep.
Or, you know, just for purposes of us getting used to, you know, going in and out of the system. Where are our term agreements? 2 things, term agreements and that, yeah, let's look at term agreements first. Okay, so suppliers' term agreements, it's the same.
Yep.
How do I add a new one?
You just have to go into one of them and then click add.
So it doesn't matter. I can pick any one of them and just say add.
Yep.
Correct.
They're not tied to each other. It could be completely different vendors, completely different commodities.
Right.
Okay, so then what? So I go into add and I just,
Fill it out.
so term agreement number, when we say new record, what is that? Or is that just telling me what's going on?
That's just a record key. That's, yeah, it's just going to,
So now I'm going to add the new 5-digit term agreement that the contract was awarded, you know, March 1st.
okay, so 5-digit term agreement would be like what? BGW again, BGW.
Come on,
1, 2.
just for, okay, let's just say office supplies.
And then you choose your supplier.
Okay. What if I have to add a new supplier that's not in here?
Well, then you go to the supplier record and add a supplier.
Okay.
I mean, you can click, wherever you see a blue link, it takes you into, see, let me, I'll show you. Let's first create the term agreement before we jump out of here. Then you select your expiration date, right?
Okay.
January 3rd. And then you give it the item ID, whatever the item ID is. I think I'm just gonna, what do we have for an item ID?
I think in our existing system, the item ID is going to be that vendor ID.
Oh, the vendor ID? Okay, well, I'll just make one up. I don't know if it does a check or not, but I'll make one up. BGW. And then you save it.
But I do always have that vendor number. If I'm ever creating a new supplier, I'm going to have that vendor number handy. So I'm going to put the right one in.
Right. So then you also put it in the suppliers catalog?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they are tied together.
Yeah. So, I mean, basically, you know, the supplier catalog entry.
You got
right
it.
here. You should probably go through this and make sure it's working the way you want it to.
Oh, I'm going to do that.
Yeah, for sure.
That's why I was asking, because I mean these are a couple of issues that are coming up, and now let's do the same thing for a new inventory item. I just go to the master list.
Create a new item.
I didn't see that. Where was that?
It's right. There's a button right here. Create item.
Okay, bingo. Easy enough.
Okay. And then you just go here and you fill in the required fields, which isn't much more than the item ID. But then you have a description field, magic marker. You know, and you can select your default supplier here. Then you have these, you know, you have whether it's serialized or not, the price, blah, blah, blah. And then you can also set up your reorder points.
Well, we're going to have to put prices in.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying.
That's a good question. Yeah.
You can set your reorder levels right here.
Okay.
And you can have different reorder levels for different warehouses.
Right. That's someone. We'll get to that down the line.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, in order to, go ahead.
Let's go back to these inventory items.
All right.
Yeah, any item, doesn't matter. But let's find a real one. Scoring bed, okay. Like any of these ones you can pick out. And pick the first, second, third one. It doesn't matter.
But what do you want me to do with it?
I want to see it because I want to see the price. I get asked all the time, how much does this cost? So I got to look it up. So
well, we can put the price on. If you want to, we can put the price right here on the screen.
Yeah, when we carry over for good, I'm going to need a price in there.
So, yeah.
Okay, well, this is how we do it. Okay, so hang on a second. So if I do, there's your price right there.
Man, I can't believe we didn't think of that before.
Yeah,
Thank God we did.
No. Yeah, we're getting close. That's fine.
Okay?
Yeah, that looks good.
Mark that.
We did inventory, we did vendors, we can receive, we can issue, we know work orders.
So in the interest of, everybody feeling really, really comfortable on picking a transition date, can we let Hugh, you know, because today's a busy day, they're doing a lot of receiving and everything. Can we give him a couple of days to run through, this new version that you have out with these corrections? With knowing
Yep.
that one, PO print that has to.
I'll fix that. I'll fix that as soon as we're off the phone. That's gotta be something easy.
But we'll give him a couple of days to work with it, and we'll let Hugh blast out an email saying, hey, I feel comfortable swapping over whatever date he gives us. If he doesn't come up with any other, new issues, or he feels comfortable, or if he has any questions, he can go in there and play for a couple of days. And then you and I, Benson, will work out the details of getting our final version of the archive over to you.
Yeah, okay.
And then making sure that, once he's tested out this environment, we can, you know, clean out any of the stuff that we created in the interim testing phase, and then start fresh, on the day of cutover.
Okay.
I mean, it's all straightforward. It's all basically the same information that we currently operate with. You know, I said it before, one of the problems we have is staffing issues where guys are in and out. I got guys working out on the street, you know, instead of in here. But I mean, based on the simplicity of it, it's just getting familiar with the new headings, the new locations, and where the buttons you click.
That's all it ever is, Hugh. People need to get used to it. It's different, you know, it's not the same, so,
All right,
you know, we understand.
the same, but just slightly
But
different.
presented differently, yeah.
I mean, I could see switching over, by the 15th of March.
15th.
To be honest with you.
Let's nail that down, the 15th for now, and then we'll let him run over the system if he has any new questions or whatever, and then, you and I will work at, the back end details of the database, targeting that date. Is it?
Okay.
I mean, I'll
Let's
spend the
Let's
next,
work towards the 15th then.
yeah, I mean, I'll spend the next 3-4 days going over and over again, issuing this, issuing that, receiving this, creating orders. I mean, I do it 10 times. I'll have it down.
All right, sounds good. If you do come across issues, screen prints help.
Yeah,
You know, if you
and
see an error, you know, usually errors are flagged at the bottom of the screen with a big red
I've
arrow.
it up, and it's always in that blueprint, so I think it's in blue or red, one or the other.
Red.
And then if I got questions, or I'm stuck, or I need something changed, I'll just shoot you an email.
Sounds good.
All right, beautiful.
Hey, Benson, as a side note, we're gonna be receiving in a bunch of, devices, tablets and stuff. I was interested in knowing, because we've never used like the asset tracking capabilities of the old inventory system.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, I was wondering if that's still available in the new system, and if I could talk to you a little bit about, you know, how asset tracking for like electronic stuff like that is done properly in Inventory Pro. I may call you during the week on that separate issue, you know, with an idea of maybe we might not use it, or maybe we will.
Okay. I don't think assets, I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't just track it as inventory personally, but it's your call. The asset side of the application isn't as robust. It doesn't have all the movement tracking that the inventory side has, but that's your call. I mean, it's there, and people do use assets, you know, so, you know, for example, here's an asset in the system.
We literally want to track like the serial number to a person that we issued it and the date, so that, you know, if it ever comes up, like, you know, because in case these guys swap devices in the field, or if there's a warranty issue, it breaks or whatever, we just want to make sure that we're tracking it somewhere, and typically it's spreadsheet based, but if we can in here, then I'd like to take advantage of it.
Yep, okay.
And then the other issue too is, because what Dave's talking about, guy tracking something out in the field, it's already been taken out of inventory.
Yeah.
If he has it, it is no longer in our inventory.
Exactly. But we'll talk about that a little bit later, Benson. That's not a high priority for our
Okay.
up over, okay?
Yeah, let's not muddy the waters. Let's just get you up and running.
Exactly.
That's
Then
right.
one other thing is, I have bookmarked certain test model. Do I have the right one, or do I need another link to work on the system in which you've made all these updates?
No, it's the same one,
Okay.
right up here. Devs Test Chicago.
Okay.
And then,
Okay?
now, Benson, I'm gonna take this opportunity, once we get off the phone with you, to hook them up to the old archive stuff. I've tested it myself, and,
Okay.
I'm gonna show it to Hugh now.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Excellent.
Take care.
Okay, I think we're done then?
That's it, I think.
Are we done?
Yes.
Okay, well, I look forward to hearing from you, and let's shoot for the 15th.
Beautiful. Thank you, Benson.
Okay, guys, have a good
All
day.
right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Close out of the screen share. Okay, that one right there. Can I jump into your?
Yeah, because
I'm gonna dial you up. I'm gonna get it so you can click one
that's
time.
my new computer. I've had it for a year and a fucking half.
Oh, more.
And Larry's supposed to